What's up, guys? My name's TB, and today we're going to be talking about episode 51 of My Hero Academia Season 3. And again, not much happened this episode, but it's to be expected, right? A lot just happened in the past couple episodes, so let's just get right into it. At the beginning of this episode, you see Midoriya's mom crying because she's sad she has to let Deku go. But she said last week she was okay with it as long as All Might, you know, actually does what he says he's going to do, which is, do everything he can to teach Deku, to make him grow up to be a good hero, and that he stays safe, and that Deku doesn't make her worry, that he checks in with her to make sure that she's okay. Immediately, right after that happens, All Might gets in the cab, he drives away. He says he's going to see Midoriya at school. We don't see him again in this episode, but that's okay. And one of the important things, there's two important things actually in this episode that I think are said. One is in the middle, and one is toward the end. Stuff that gives us a little bit of closure on the past events that's been happening ever since the League of Villains attacked and most of the city got destroyed and All For One showed up. And the first thing is that the president of the high school, he acknowledges the fact that since All Might is gone, since he's not working as a pro hero anymore, since he's retired but he's still around, that things are gonna start showing up, things are gonna start happening. People are gonna notice that there's not a reason to be scared or afraid anymore. There's not always going to be someone there who's going to protect the peace. So, things are okay for right now because it just happened, but as time goes on, things will start to come up. So he acknowledges that, and he's like, oh, this is the reason why we want to make these dorms in the first place, to try to keep these kids safe. But not only to keep the kids safe, but to weed out anyone who might potentially be a mole. He didn't forget that. They had a conversation with the other pro heroes that were teachers at the school, saying that they obviously had a mole because there's no way that the League of Villains would have knew where the students were when they were in that training camp. So he just brought that up. That was important. The other thing that's important towards the middle is right after that, the students are right in front of the school. You see them, they're excited to go in there. And it says 1A there, like UA 1A. So something I'm not sure of is, do all the students have dorms or just class 1A? It can't just be class 1A because everyone at the school is important, not just this one class. But we didn't see any other dorms. Like, we didn't see 2B or anything. And then Aizawa says he calls the 5 students that were there to save Bakugo: Kirishima, Ida, Midoriya, and Momo. He calls them up there, and he's just like, listen, guys, I need to tell you something before you go into your dorms. If it was up to me, just because the only reason why you guys aren't, if it was up to me, basically he says that you guys will all be expelled. Everyone except for Jiro and Toru, because they were affected by the gas, so they weren't around when they went to go to try to save Bakugo. He's like, you did something stupid, you betrayed our trust, everyone's trust, all the teachers' trust, the principal's trust, everyone who trusted you to sit tight and just not do anything, wait for All Might and the pro heroes and the police to handle it. If you knew about it, you would have been expelled, and if you were part of the 5 group that went to go save Bakugo, he said you would have been expelled. But because, All Might's retired and everything worked out, he's going to let it slide. He's like, you're going to have to rebuild that trust again. Just because you're students here and you're, training to be heroes doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. You're going to have to rebuild that trust. So, that was like a serious moment. A serious moment in the middle of the episode. After that, Bakugo gets reminded that Kirishima stuck his neck out for him. So he does something that, I wouldn't expect for him to do, or everyone else to be okay with it, actually. He takes one of the students and he basically shakes them down for money. I forget what his name is, but I'll put him up there because he didn't get much screen time. He's a guy who can use electricity as his quirk, but if he uses way too much, he overloads and he turns stupid. He basically replays Kirishima back the money that he used in order for him to go and save him, and he appreciated that. But first he was like, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I totally withdrew this money from my bank account. I didn't just shake someone down for this money, even though that's totally what he did. And then he decides to use that money to take everyone out to go eat. Because of course he wouldn't feel comfortable just taking that money for himself. After that, everyone settles in to their dorms and everything like that, and the girls decide that they want to have kind of like a contest to see which room is the best room. And immediately Midoriya is like, I don't want to do this because my room freaking has All Might all over it. And you think that he wouldn't decorate his room like that? Like, his room at his house was like that, so I don't know why he would decorate his dorm room like that, but he does. And then you get to see various, students' dorm rooms, and I'll put a couple up right here. Some of the guys and some of the girls. Some of them just look really plain, and some of them actually look pretty cool. Like, their dorms actually looked pretty cool. So they had this contest, and of course, Mineta. I knew that this was gonna show up. Anytime the show like puts the perspective of the girls there, Mineta shows up and he starts trying to be a perv, and he's like, "I want to see your rooms. I want to do this and that," and they just totally ignore him. When they were doing the room check to see which one has the coolest room, they totally skipped over his room. They didn't even care about him. They were like, "Nope, we're not going in your room. We're gonna skip right over you." And then they, after the boys, then they start showing the girls, and now they have like My Hero Academia didn't have much fan service, which I'm thankful for. It's more about the actions and the character development than the show itself. But in this episode, they took advantage to show a little bit of fan service, and they used Toru, out of all people, the Invisible Girl. And she doesn't look that bad, but it's like it came out of nowhere. She's like, "Here's my room. I'm bouncing all over the place," And of course, we had that moment from Mineta. Again, he just takes advantage of the situation because that's what he's there for. His quirk is like basically useless. I mean, it's useful in some situations, but like you got to be reaching. You got to really be stretching. So after all that, they pick a winner. The winner is I think Seto, I believe, the guy who eats a lot of sugar, because his room actually looked pretty good, and he made sweets, and the girls ate the sweets. So he's the one who won the competition. And some of the girls' rooms, they look pretty good, but not anything that you wouldn't expect. And that's pretty much the whole episode, except for something, again, like I said, happens really important in the middle, which is Aizawa Eraserhead talking to the students, and something at the end, which is Sue. You remember right before they decided to go rescue Bakugo, they were in the hotel. They were in the hospital, and Sue basically said that if you disobey, the rules, if you go against what everyone's telling you to do, then you're just like the villains because you're not obeying the rules. And then she basically goes into this whole conversation where she's sorry about the way that she said, because she felt like she said some pretty messed up things, some things that were pretty harsh. That she thought that because she said what she said, it deterred them from going to try to save Bakugo. And after what Eraser had said, she felt bad because she didn't want anyone to get in trouble, and she didn't expect them to actually go through with it after saying what she said. And then she's like, "Oh, she said she didn't feel comfortable like trying to pretend like everything was okay and everything got back to normal when it wasn't, because there's still that tension of like some people wanted them to do it and other people didn't want them to do it." And then they just reassured her that everything was okay, that it was their decision to go, that it wasn't her fault, and that like everything's good, we're all good. And I thought that was good. You get a little bit of dialogue from Ochako too, saying that like we should all try our best to make things go back to normal and not be so stressed out about this because it's over, it's in the past. And I think that's good. The students need to get back to a place where they can focus on trying to become the best heroes they can be and developing their quirks, which is great because next week is going to be an episode totally devoted to doing that. Everyone's trying to like develop their ultimate move, their best move. And something that is going to come up, you even see it in the preview, is Midoriya saying that he doesn't know how he's going to do that because he can't use his arms. His arms are still pretty much broken. They're still healing. So, we'll see. We'll see what he's going to do. The only person that we've seen to use like a really big move that has a name is Bakugo, actually. He has his Hauser Impact. The last time, and I think the first time he used it, was during the tournament. And that's the last time you see him use that. Maybe he uses it again to get away from the League of Villains when All For One was there, but I'm not 100% sure. He just kind of blows up and flies off. So I don't know if that's Hauser Impact or not. But next week is going to be good because you're going to see them start to develop their quirks. And that's something that it's definitely going to be exciting to see, especially for the characters who haven't gotten too much screen time. So that's it. That's the end of the review. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I feel like there was important discussions happening, but not much happened. They moved into the dorms, and they had a good time. And let me know what you guys thought of the review as well as the episode. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.